What is up, folks? I'm on day 23 of quitting smoking. That means I'm 3 weeks down. I'm in my fourth week now. Um, and I thought I better touch base, let you guys know how I'm doing. There's a few things that I kind of wanted to talk about today. So, one of the things I feel like I'm learning at this point, I'm kind of lucky. I feel like I've gone through a quit where I haven't been overly challenged. The first few days really suck. But I've been so lucky that my cravings haven't really followed me, and I feel like it has partially it's luck of the draw, I imagine. But I think it also probably has something to do with how prepared I am, how much um, I believe in the material that I've used to study, whether it's Alan Carr's book or Joel Spitzer's videos. But I'll tell you, I still do get cravings. And I've never felt like in any of the 23 days, whatever, I've never felt like I was going to give in. I never felt like I was going to go to the store. I never even felt like tempted. I knew I was done. But in the past few days, I've gotten maybe more cravings than I have in the past like week or so, or the week before the past few days. And I feel like what I'm running into is this thing we kind of go through as we're quitting. We run into our triggers. We find out what triggers us to want a cigarette. And it's interesting because one of the things for me has been driving. And I'm finding out that those triggers are super specific. It's not just driving. Sometimes it's the destination. So like the first time that I drove to work, I realized I was having like a little bit of cravings. This is when I would normally smoke. So you'd figure anytime you get in a car, that's like the same thing. But now I feel like I go to work and I never have a problem in the car. After a couple days of going to work, it's whatever. But then yesterday, I'm just driving to the bank, which is a completely different drive for me. It's happening at a different time of day. And I got that feeling again. And I was like, oh, when I drive, I want to do that, But it's somehow a different trigger. And I know from a few quits ago that I had a similar experience. I'm from Chicago. I live in LA. I've been in LA for about like 8-9 years. But I realized I found out even like a year into that first quit that I had triggers in Chicago. So I had worked out most of my triggers in LA. I probably still ran into stuff here and there. You never know what you're going to run into. But then I go home and suddenly a barrage of like, oh, I remember this as a smoking place as well. And now I have to recognize that and beat these triggers here. So that's like a general lesson to learn is, and it's especially valuable for me as I feel like I've had some ease in this quit that I don't want to be too lax. I don't want to be caught off guard by one of these triggers and suddenly after it was like weeks of like, some challenges here or there, but nothing really going to push me in the wrong direction to suddenly I'm like weeks in and boom, something hits me and I'm like, oh, now I have to do it, So I feel lucky that it's been fairly easy for me, but I definitely don't want to be lax. You have to give credit to the fact that this is an addiction, and that things can come up. So there are a few other things I wanted to talk about. Like number one, I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the crap ways that I felt when I was smoking that I feel happy to be rid of right now. Number one, I was developing for really the first time in my life a like really bad smoker's cough. When for the past few years, sure, I've had a cough here and there. I could probably cough if I needed to cough, but like in the past couple of months, it was getting to the point where like before bed, I would just start like hacking. And this is before, because I was sick right around the time of my quit. Before that, I mean, seriously, uncomfortably hacking and like unable to like clear my lungs and feel comfortable. And I've mentioned that I had tried to quit a few times in the past couple months. That was kind of part of it. I felt like something was changing. And when I was failing at those little quits, I literally had the thought, well, I can't do this. Like, I'm effed. I'm just going to die because of this, and there's nothing I can do. I am now strictly a victim, too addicted to quit, and I know what it's doing to me, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to have to, well, you fucked up. You started smoking years ago, and now we're here, and you can't do anything about it. And I'll tell you, that's like the worst feeling in the world, to be like, well, I give up. You win. And that's a low point, and I'm sure lots of people go through that. And I guess I'm living proof now. Even if you give up in a moment, you can pull through, So yeah, don't be beaten by your inability to quit if it doesn't take right away. I know that there's this idea out there that you have to quit multiple times before it'll stick. Like, generally a smoker will quit so many times. The fact of the matter is, it could happen on try one. There is no number of quits that it has to take. But I think it's good to learn from failed quits. I think that a lot of what we worry about when we're quitting smoking is kind of the fear of the unknown, how we're going to feel, how are we ever going to feel better? How are we going to deal with this, with that? Are we not going to be as creative? Are we not going to be as funny? Are we not going to be as outgoing? I don't know. But if you do have a quit under your belt, especially a long one, there isn't the fear of that. Yeah, it is going to get better. It's just a matter of time and a matter of my understanding what this addiction is and what it was doing to me. Anyway, I am so bad about getting off topic. It's just me and my thoughts here. But I also wanted to talk about this terrible feeling that cigarettes gave me. And I don't know if anybody else can identify with this, but it wasn't until I started smoking again after that long quit that I was able to pinpoint a feeling that I would get. It's almost like so it's kind of making sense to me already, but I'm super sensitive to caffeine. If I have a lot of caffeine, I start feeling nauseous and I feel kind of shaky and I just don't feel good. And when I had been off cigarettes for 3 years and I went back, each cigarette I had that feeling. I would just feel like totally nauseous, maybe like 5-10 minutes after I had smoked. And as I became a regular smoker again, it's kind of like you beat down that feeling. You're trying to get your nicotine fix, and you will actually ignore your body telling you this is not good, like it's making me feel bad. But I do have memories in the past couple of years of like being on my way to work and having that same feeling. I'd be in the car and be like, God, I don't know if I can get through a shift today. I feel so nauseous and just so gross. And like, I feel bad and I can't even tell you what the feeling is. I just don't feel good. And I'll tell you, I mean, it hasn't been long and I already haven't been experiencing days like that. And that's the point I was trying to make before. The smoker's cough has already gone. Like, it was only a few days in that I noticed I wasn't coughing, I wasn't wheezing. And I understand there's probably a lot of damage here, and there's probably a lot of damage that isn't going to heal. While I'm sure there is some that is going to heal, but your body responds quickly. It's better. So just on the topic of health, there was just one other thing I wanted to talk about. When I was in the middle of that long quit before, I was living in LA when I started. I moved back to Illinois for just a year, and that's where I started smoking again. And when I moved back there, before I started smoking again, I got really, really sick. I was sick at home for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Just really bad, like flu symptoms and a fever that just would not quit. It didn't matter what I took, 103 fever every day. And it was getting so bad, I finally went to the ER. and they ended up admitting me, and I was in the hospital for maybe a week or so. And they never really figured out what it was, but it went away after like a week. But I actually worry to myself, had I been a smoker, I don't know if my body would have been able to handle like that as well as I did. It was like the worst sickness in the world. And I was in like peak physical condition. I had been working out. I had been off cigarettes for 2 years plus. And I was luckily able to get through it, but it was like difficult. And I'm fearful that like being a smoker, if something like that happened again, like could my body handle it? And maybe so, but God, you never know when something is going to hit you like that, when something's going to happen. And I want to have my immune system, my body in peak shape to handle any illness that could possibly come on. And so that's one last thing I want to talk about. God, how long have I been going? This is a long one. I am sorry, folks. In the past couple of years, I feel like my whole lifestyle has gotten really unhealthy, and I almost blame the cigarettes. I feel like they were weighing me down in a way where I felt like, man, I really need to change my eating habits. Well, it's not really important. I'm a smoker. I need to like fix that first. I can't really fix anything else without fixing that. Man, I'd really like to work out all the time like I used to do. Why even worry about it? You're unhealthy. You're a smoker anyway. So now that I've quit, I've kind of used this opportunity to kind of make some changes slowly in my own life to try to get healthier. And so focusing on that, I've gotten my workouts back together. I'm not doing insane workouts. I've just been waking up my body, getting ready to work out again. I'm doing runs again. I'm feeling good when I'm running. It just gets better every run. I feel like everything's just coming back really quickly. And hopefully I can keep moving forward, keep getting stronger, eating better, and get myself really healthy. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things I'd love to talk about, but I should probably stop because it's already going on like 13 minutes. We'll see what it's like after I get cutting through it. Anyway, week 3 is over with, into week 4, feeling really awesome. And yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you. I just seen a video on Angela's channel today, and she was touching base after having missed a few days, and I was like, holy crap, it has been a few days. I better touch base and see, and just mark my progress. So, in any case, feeling good, ready to go, and if you're considering smoking, I hope that you will. I hope that I can help by getting rid of some of that fear of the unknown. You can see, look, it's not terrible. Maybe the first few days are. In some instances, maybe the first couple weeks are, but it's nothing that you can't get through. It's better on the other side. I can't stress it enough. It is better on the other side. And yeah, if you have any words of wisdom for me, let me know. I'd be happy to take those as well. I don't want to make it sound like it's an absolute walk in the park. I mean, there are still days where I have, the occasional thoughts of cigarettes, and I have to stay real with myself and make sure my head's straight just in case it does get worse. Day to day, anything can happen. But right now, I feel really good. But all right, folks, I will talk to you soon. Peace out, homies.